Providentially, that we find ourselves in this solemnity of the Ascension of the Lord, do we not also find ourselves many a time nakatingala tayo sa langit? For a moment in the church history, the Catholic faithful have been accused of being too otherworldly. Masyado daw tayong we give too much emphasis on the next life. We forget the life here on earth. That is not true. That is not true. Like the apostles and the disciples, we might be caught that we are gazing upon heaven, but our feet always firmly rooted on the ground. Kaya nga Saint Augustine tells us, we are citizens both of this world and of heaven. And for the rest, may dagdag pa silang citizenship, senior citizenship. We are citizens both of heaven and of earth. And it makes us responsible both of the things of earth, which are good. God made everything good. And certainly responsible for the next life. During this centenary of the apparitions of Our Lady at Fatima, it surprised me, but not shocked me, that it was the first time that I saw it this morning. At the end of the North Luzon Expressway going here to Manila, there is this giant tarpaulin, as in giant tarpaulin, having the image of Our Lady and her sorrowful and immaculate heart, and these words quoted when she appeared to the 3 children of Fatima, that many souls go to hell because they have no one to pray for them. No one to pray for them. This national gathering of CFD is not only to form our minds. Otherwise, the Holy Father, Pope Francis, has all the reason to accuse us that we have created a small world for ourselves, na tayo-tayo na lang. On one hand, it might be true. On one hand, it is tempting to do that. In gatherings like this, because I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, are so steeped in the Catholic doctrine and tradition, you might think, and we might think, that the world's concern are simply the doctrines, and we forget the most essential, the salvation of souls. Yet at the same time, we cannot sacrifice. We cannot simply say, let's do away with doctrine. It will always be a happy balance between doctrine and our pastoral concerns. Even during the time of Plato and Aristotle, we have already been given that beautiful dictum, in medio virtus. Virtue is in the middle. It is in the balance of everything, not compromise. Balance. That is why may this gathering of CFD, as we have noted in the start of the Mass, in the spiritual presence of Our Lady, represented here by the image of Our Lady, blessed by the Blessed Holy Six himself. I believe there were, correct me, huh? There were 70, 50 lang pala. There were 50 statues that was blessed by him to go around the world, to be assigned rather, to 50 countries around the world. And the one assigned for the Philippines is the one here right now. Blessed by, as I said, Blessed Paul VI himself. Our Lady was not a doctrinaire, but she sacrificed everything for the salvation of souls. But she also said at Fatima, the faith will be preserved in Portugal. A happy balance between doctrine and the pastoral care of souls. One cannot do away with the other. It goes hand in hand. In the canon law, there is the beautiful, I'm sure you know that, the beautiful provision, salus animarum lex suprema est. The salvation of souls is the highest law of all. Let us learn. Let us be steeped in the knowledge of Catholic doctrine, in her magisterium, in her teaching, in her tradition, but always in the end view of salvation of souls. Otherwise, we are simply undertaking an intellectual exercise of which in the end it is but a vanity. Let our knowledge of and our pursuit of the knowledge of the Catholic faith lead us to that zeal to save souls. Lead us to deep prayer. Thomas Aquinas was precisely one like that. He was not an intellectual, simply spending all time in the library. In fact, he tells us he learned so much by contemplating Christ crucified on the crucifix. In prayer. In prayer. I think the Dominican sisters are here. Are they the Dominican sisters? Sorry. I thought you were Dominican. But they are sisters nonetheless. Ano pong congregation niyo, sister?
Daughter of St. Paul.
Oh, St. Paul. Anyway, whatever is our religious congregation, it reminds me of that Dominican priest who gave us that Olympic motto, Sitius, Altius, Fortius. Believe it or not, it was a Dominican priest. May this convention of the CFD and all the subsequent annual conventions, like that Olympic motto tells us, lead you always to a stronger, higher, and faster understanding of the Catholic faith. Sitius is faster, Altius higher, Fortius stronger in the understanding of the Catholic faith. But always, let me say, with the end view of the salvation of souls. Salvation of souls. Otherwise, there will be a futile exercise. No matter how intellectually noble it might be. Salvation of souls. Why do you engage in debate? It is not simply to prove that we are right. Of course we know we are right. We know we are true. But why do we engage in debate? For them to realize. And that in the realization of what is true and right, they would be saved. It is not to humiliate them. It is already humiliation in itself when they reject the truth. But what we are not after to disprove them. We are not after to humiliate them in public. We are after the salvation of their souls. That in knowing the truth, they would be saved. So, it's the same. Nothing will be changed. But with the purification of intention, the sincere striving to learn the truth for the salvation of souls. And so, my dearest sisters, forgive me for my ignorance. In the civil law, ignorance is never an excuse. But thankfully in the canon law, ignorance is an excuse. So, excuse me. May Our Lady's seat of wisdom be our inspiration. The three children of Fatima, except for one, who became a Dorothean and later on a Carmelite sister, they were illiterate. Remember when they were still first learning to pray the rosary, they were doing it the shortcut way. They were praying, Hail Mary, Holy Mary, Hail Mary, Holy Mary. They were in a hurry. Walang pinagkaabihan sa mga matatanda natin. O tayo, Hail Mary, Holy Mary, kinakarera. Ganun talaga. The Lord and Our Lady always telling us to purify our intention and to do things right for the salvation of souls. Salvation of souls. May this solemnity of our Lord's ascension into heaven, as we lovingly gaze the Lord ascending into heaven, may also be reminded of the words of that angel to the men of Galilee. Why are you still gazing towards heaven? Time to work. Time to deepen our faith. Time to pray. Time to do apostolate for the salvation of souls. May Our Lady who appeared at Fatima 100 years ago, and may the three children of Fatima, the two happily canonized by Pope Francis, Jacinta and Francisco, and who knows, someday, of course, Lucia herself, may these three children inspire us all the more to do everything that we can in knowing, in contemplating, and in bringing this fruit of contemplation to others. The truth, and bringing this truth to others, so that this truth will lead to our salvation. Salvation of our own souls, and the salvation of all mankind. Let us now stand up, and together let us profess our faith.